I don't remember saying that, Denise. And if I don't remember it, then it didn't happen. Clearly. And also, this is way more zoomed in than I thought it was. And since I was messing around with stuff earlier, all my settings are a bit wonky, so I gotta fix some things. Hi guys. Hi. Hi. It is Friday here on the It Doesn't Have to Make Sense channel, which means it is that Friday stream show thing. And my lighting is still kind of wonky because I haven't been able to finish the lighting setup behind me to get back to the thing. Definitely happened. You enter Laura's very entrance story. I don't remember. The audio is low. Why is the audio low? Oh, that knob was turned way further out than it was supposed to be. Sorry about that. Wow. I guess I couldn't see that. Sorry. The knob that makes things go louder was turned way. It was supposed to be like a quarter of a notch, and it was like 4 notches. Sorry. God, you guys are so picky today. Accusing me of saying things about Denise and other things. I don't know. Patreon stream. Oh. Okay. Because we talked about you on the podcast too, so that's why I was confused. And we're going back to the days where the chat doesn't work for some reason. Guys, please hit that like button. I see 12 people here and only 8 people have hit that like button, so that's good. All right. So let's go roll call real quick. Got a few faces we haven't seen in a minute. We got Sally complaining that I'm starting late. Well, sorry, Sally. This is when we start. Val Prime, Tara's here, Trisha, John T minus the Ucker is back. I saw Eric the Lurker there. Where'd he go? My chat moved. I swear I saw areas. Okay, Eric the Lurker. Lisa Taylor popping in to say hi for the first time in a minute. Yes, we were talking about you the other day. Christine is here. Christine's also been absent. Christine got a shout out on the podcast the other day. I don't know if she heard it or not. I hadn't gotten a message about it, so I assumed not. And John is multitasking. Good for you, John. Hey, there's Laura. Yes, who apparently had a fire somewhere today. I don't remember that. The funny thing is, like, I don't rewatch the Patreon podcast, so I don't remember. Speaking of the Patreon podcast, guys, I did not record the one we had on Wednesday. I never hit the button. Sorry. So no replay on that one. Sorry about that. But for the other podcast, we do have the Now You Made It Awkward podcast. New episode went up today. We talked about all the crazy news going on in the world, who's shooting what at whom, what things are on fire, and then also talked about men's mental health for a little while and the struggle that National Guard and Marines possibly would be going through after having to be called out on their own citizenship. So, little weird things. You can't tell me you were talking about me and not tell me if it was good or bad. I mean, I mentioned you. Yes. Hey, there's Jay. It's no reason to be paranoid. We talk about other people. It's fine. Sorry, I'm yawning already. It's been a long day. Yeah. Jeez, sorry. Oh, apparently my watch battery's full. Yay. Okay. Good job, phone. Way to notify me of that right now. There we go. Guys, it's been a long week. I don't know what the heck's going on. I've filmed multiple podcasts. Had to edit multiple podcasts just in 1 week. Because we have 2 specific men's mental health confessionals, kind of. I don't know. Interviews? I don't know exactly how to phrase it. But a couple guys from church wanted to participate and talk about their stories. One of those will be dropping tomorrow morning. It's already up on the Patreon. And then the other, I need to finish editing it. So it probably will go up on Monday. So that's going to be a different one. So yeah. A dog apparently. I don't know why you were barking. I don't know the reference. Yeah, I don't. That was from like weeks ago. Because it's probably the episode that I've missed entirely and remembered to upload. That's probably what that was. So, guys, if you are a part of the Patreon, especially on the $5 No Monica Nation level, you can at least join us for our 3 to 4 times a month Patreon calls where we all sit and chat about stuff and things and such. And then on the first Wednesday of the month, we have an open Patreon call to all levels where we do trivia night. So that will be next Wednesday. So if you want to come sign up for the Patreon, you can do so. Link is down below. Even on the freebie or the $3 level, you can get in for that level where you can just come and hang out. But if you want to support anything else, plus the podcast, plus the calls, plus occasional limited reactions, and plus we're going to be doing a versus night on the Patreon that I don't think I could pull off here on the main channel, so you might want to sign up for that. I don't know the reference, Denise. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. I think I remember that. Okay. Because there was a sound that sounded like barking, which you probably would have heard in the recording. And it sounded like it came from you. Obviously, you didn't bark, but it sounded like a bark. Now I remember. God, we talk for hours on those things. You know how hard it is to remember any one little thing that we go over? Don't clip it. Can't do that. That's illegal. That's illegal to record things that are over on the Patreon. Can't be doing that. That's limited for you people. Oh, we're behind. Oh, Mr. Future Man. John, living in the future. Yes, your wrist is doing better. Read your email. You got an appointment on July 2nd in St. Louis. Yes. It doesn't matter. Don't clip it. Yeah, so we did actually read your email on this week's episode. It's not going to be the standard episode. It's going to be the Men's Health Extra, but we did read it. So, yeah. Hope it heals up pretty good. Hope it heals up fast, man. Sounded like it hurt. All right, guys. So we got a little bit of a different thing going on tonight because while we have some music reactions, also have some other non-music reactions, including we are going to be ending on a Fat Electrician video. But it's a long one. That's why I put it at the end. So I started watching it the other day, was not really paying attention at all. Got like 10 minutes into it. I was just busy. And I feel like it deserves more attention than that. So we're going to be finishing up on the newest Fat Electrician video. So there's that. So either way, we do have the new song Dirty Boots from Hound, Fox, Adam Chance, Less of the Girl. What is less? Okay, so she's going by Less of the Girl now? So does that mean we get rid of the Fox part? Very confused. Okay, and yes, I had multiple people tell me there was a song coming. As though I wouldn't notice. Either way. Alright, we also got a new one from High Carbon Steel doing Alan Jackson cover. I'm here for that someday. I haven't heard that one in a long time. New guy that was in the suggestions was Christian Larson, Wayfaring Stranger, Life in Black 2, a tribute to Johnny Cash. That would be interesting. Need a new artist here and there. Okay, well, you're going to watch it again tonight, Jay. All right, new one from Life in 3D, doing a Frank Sinatra cover. It looks like Dalen? I forget which one's which. I think it's like Devon, Dalen, and Dora. I just don't remember which one this one is. Either way. Okay, so the first of our not normal type of videos, we've got Ballistic High Speed, Tank versus Human, slow motion headshot. Ballistic High Speed. Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. Big old tank round hitting a human head at like 50,000 frames per second. That'd be fun. Kind of watching it. Yep, same thing. Same problem I had. Okay, we do have new Dave Moffat doing The Best I Ever Had. Gray Sky Morning. It's a Vertical Horizon cover. I haven't heard Vertical Horizon in a long time. I used to love their initial album. I think I burned that, not literally burned. I think I like ran that CD into the ground because I used to listen to that like all over like 1997, 1996. I haven't heard that particular song from them in a very long time. Alright, since we haven't checked in on Ghost Hounds in a long time and somehow completely slipped this one, we got Before You Leave featuring Lainey Wilson. And then, because we haven't done First to 11 in a little bit, just a little bit, they have a cover of Linger. We're just going with some very old songs for me here. And then, something I'm excited for, Corvix doing a dark cinematic version of Rolling in the Deep in the original key. That's going to be fun. Or very creepy. Possibly both. Looks like Bob, really? I don't think it looks like Bob. Or is it just because his hat's backward and you're just like automatic association? And then, of course, Fat Electrician, World War II vets versus corrupt cops, the Battle of Athens, Tennessee. Like I said, I started watching it yesterday and then just, yeah, it happens. It happens. All right, either way, let's roll over here and go ahead and get started with Dirty Boots. 3 thumbs down. That's pretty bad. Okay, let's go.
Come on in, leave your dirty boots on. There's no use in trying to keep mud off these weathered floors. Give your tired grin and your desperation. I have no use in trying to make you more agreeable.
I think that's the first time we've seen her not pregnant in a while.
If you only knew I've been there too, you'd see how ugly I've been. But we could be friends. Now show me the worst of you. Come and take a seat in my darkness. I don't show this side very often. Come and lay your shadow on my doorstep. Put your light out tonight.
Let's raise a glass to a troubled past. In that older road, I left it behind, but the mud stays where I go. The footprints that remain show the wrong turns along the way. But ahead that road split in the unknown, and I'm sorry that I could not travel both. If you only knew what I...
By the way, this sounds like it fits in with Chance's new style. I'm going to back up just a little bit.
And I'm sorry that I could not travel both. If you only knew what I see through, you'd put your mask to the flame and stop playing games. Now show me the rest of you. Come and take a seat in my darkness. I don't show this side very often. Come and lay your shadow on my doorstep. Put your light out tonight and let it die. Oh.
Put your light out tonight. Put your light out tonight. Put your light out tonight.
Huh. It was funny. I was just thinking, it was like, it sounds like a song about zombies, and then I realized she dug up herself and brought her in the house. Interesting. Uh-oh. Why am I having issues? There it went. That was weird. Were you guys getting the circle? I was getting the circle. I feel like I'm having some internet issues tonight. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it was a cool song. I like that. Also, like, got to hear her really kind of wail there for a minute, because I feel like they just do soft lullaby things, and nobody ever really gets to belt. So that was good. That was good. I mean, those three are awesome. I just wish that they would get together in person for more videos. It feels like it's been a while. Maybe I'm wrong. But maybe I'm right. Okay. Pop over here. All right. That was fun. That was very good. All right. So, back to our favorite little country boys here. Missing one. Where's our drummer friend? All right. High Carbon Steel music. Doing Someday by Alan Jackson.
And then I was like, oh no, I have to land on the E minor. And then I was like, oh no, I have to sing. It was just a lot of oh no. Yeah, it was a lot of oh no's. Okay, run it back.
The lead dude is starting to remind me of a real young John Rich. I don't know if anybody else gets that.
She looked me in the eyes and said it's over.
This song, okay.
I can't take this heartache anymore. She said, don't tell me lies and try to please me. I've heard it all so many times before. I took her by the arm and said, don't leave me. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Just give me time, I'll be the man you needed. She said, I wish that I could take that for the truth. And I said, someday I'll get my life straight. And she said, it's too late. What's done is done. And I told her someday. She said, I can't wait. 'Cause sometime, someday, just never comes.
I don't think I've heard this song since the 90s. I recognize the lyrics like almost right away, but I was like, man, like childhood coming back here.
She said, all I ever wanted was to love you. And somewhere deep inside me I still do. And now I think it's time I stop believing. 'Cause I'm never gonna see a change in you. And I said, someday I'll get my life straight. And she said, it's too late. What's done is done. And I told her someday
Let's get another.
Okay.
I was finally getting into it that time. I was finally like, okay, I can look up and not think about it. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's run it back one more time.
That's funny. As good as that take was, he's like, let's do it again. Yeah, that's funny. That was the good take. So I bet the next one wasn't as good. That's funny. That was real good, though. Man, these young kids going back and playing the songs from my youth. Oof. Nice nostalgia there. I appreciated that. They're good. Just for, well, generally speaking, 3 dudes hanging out in the yard playing music is pretty damn good. Yeah, I like their voice. It brings me back to my country roots. Like, I didn't grow up on rock music. Like, I heard it occasionally. Like, the first time I really heard like actual rock music was like one of the few times I hung out with my brother when I was a little kid. You know, he was off living his life. Every now and then, he and my sister-in-law would have to watch me. And that was like one of the few times I heard like AC/DC and like Aerosmith and stuff like that. It wasn't until like late 6th grade, I think, is when I started hearing like modern rock music, and then started getting into like alternative rock, and then going back into what would be now called classic rock, let alone metal. Yeah, that changed everything. I grew up on just country music and the occasional like stuff from like the 50s or 60s. Not much of the 70s, but 50s, 60s. So either way, as we discussed on the Patreon this week, I grew up with very old parents, so that helped. I mean, comparatively, my dad is older than most of y'all's dads, or the same age as most of y'all's dads. And I'm talking to my specific audience. If you come in later and watch this, and you're like, "But my dad's like 50," I'm like, "Yes, my dad is older than that, but we're talking about perspective here." Okay. Yeah. Speaking of that, wow. You hated it? That's interesting. That is interesting. Okay, Wayfaring Stranger, Life in Black 2, tribute to Johnny Cash. We have not heard. I don't think I've heard Christian Larson. I know Chris Larson. All right, so welcome to the 4th song in the video series, Wayfaring Stranger. So it's timeless folk songs never loses impact. Okay. Let's see. Yes, you missed it. We always assume you're busy or working or teaching.
I'm just a poor wayfaring stranger.
Hold on. What do you got going over here? So it is 60 frames per second, but it looks weird.
Traveling through
because it's soft focus with high
this
depth.
World below.
24 frames, my friend.
There is no sickness, no toil nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my father.
Feels like he's doing a Cash
and
impression.
all my loved ones who've gone home. So I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home.
I detect hurdy-gurdy. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I can hear
I know dark clouds will gather around me. I know my way is hard and steep, yet
Nice.
beauteous fields arise before me, where God's redeemed
That sounds so bad.
their vigils keep.
That sounds like something I had as a kid, and it keeps occurring as an adult. You have the Gertie ear. Get him out of here. Take him home. He's got the Gertie ear. Damn it. He keeps getting the Gertie ear.
I'm going there to see my mother.
I realized I was slouching.
She said she'd meet
Right.
me when I come.
Could you imagine the infomercials
So
for
I'm
Gertie ear?
just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home.
You have a type affliction. Are you or someone you know suffering from Gertie ear? I do. I have ever since I was a child, every 6 to 9 months. But there's hope. Just try Now and Thenza. It's a twice daily cream. You have to apply it with a specific applicator. Be careful as to not make actual contact with your skin, as the Gertie ear can become Gertie fingers very fast. You may be eligible for compensation. If you or someone that you know... Hold on, let's try to do it without laughing. Straight face. Yep. If you or someone you know is suffering from Gertie ear, you may be eligible. Fuck. It's hard. I have no rehearsal here. If you or somebody you know is suffering from Gertie ear, you may be eligible for compensation. Contact us at 888-522. Fuck. I hope that's not a real number. I just threw out random shit. Don't call that number. You don't want it to evolve into Hurdy Mouth. Hurdy Mouth. Please go see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. You might wake up a little cranky. Almost never laughed? No. Okay. Anyway, that was really good. That guy was great. Sorry, we got distracted on the Gertie ear. If you've been suffering from Gertie ear for more than 6 hours, please consult a physician. Okay. All right, Life in 3D. Let's get going after My Way. I feel like he's going to nail this. Certainly dress the part. Though, this is the first time, at least via the thumbnail, we only see one. Used to be so serious. Whatever. Whatever, Laura. I'm also drinking, if that helps. I'm drinking Donkey Show. Pre-mixed Donkey Show from Jordan's birthday. Technically needs more ginger beer in it, but I don't feel like having a lot of heartburn tonight. Why is it so quiet? That's them, not me.
And now the end is near, and so
Not gonna lie, totally forgot what song he was singing. I had a different song running in my head, and then he started singing it. I was like, oh, okay, I'm good. Now I got it. I will say my favorite version of this song has nothing to do with any real singers. Yep.
And now the end is near, and so I
Actually, Donkey Show cures COVID. Or, I'm sorry, not COVID. You ignore that, YouTube. The Donkey Show drink cures pollination in your face.
face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear and state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few.
I mean, I kind of wish his brother was involved. I want to hear some nice lower tones.
But then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step
You should be.
along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. When through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved.
Sorry, I'm just kind of enthralled in a. Is this Better Call Gertie? What? John's gonna do that thing where he says stuff that sounds completely irrelevant, but wherever he's at in time, it works. There's a problem with living in the future like John does. None of your conversation makes sense to us people in the past. I think that's how that works. No, okay. So he's doing a really good job. Don't get me wrong, but I really and truly only love one version of this song. And it's the dumbest version of this song, but because it's sung by a guy singing in a different voice entirely and forcing it, it's so funny.
I've laughed and cried, I've had my share, my fill of losing.
Also, it's not the full-length version.
Now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. Let the record show I took the blow
So guys, at the end of the stream, I will play the version that is my favorite.
Yes,
So
there were times.
I will say, for like, hey, that's supposed to be muted. For for trying to do actual Frank Sinatra justice, fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I will play my favorite version of the song after we're done with the stream. Literally, like in the credits. So yeah, sometimes if you leave, you miss the fact I will play an extra song at the end. So stick around for that. You're calling me a train wreck. Yes? Yes, Lyle has a GoFundMe set up to get his ass to America. I saw that the other day. Also, shout out to Lyle if he happens to pop in. He did last week for some reason. I don't know what happened there. But he came to visit, so yay. Hey, look, if for some reason he comes to Texas, I will make an effort to go meet Lyle. I don't know if he's coming to Texas. I don't know if he's doing a whole tour, if he's like landing in New York and going, nope, and then getting the fuck out, because that could happen. Likely he's going to land in LA if I had to really think about it. But if he comes anywhere close in Texas, mind you, Texas is really big. Just saying. If he remotely comes towards my town, I will take him for some like badass barbecue and some beers. All right. So we're going to mix it up now for those who might have come in slightly late. We are now checking out the Ballistic High Speed channel. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Laura's got all kinds of things going on, from challenging gravity to, you know, battling the elements outside. All kinds of things. I mean, I will. Not going to take him to all those places that all of the other idiots go to, because those are much further away from me. But there's some stellar barbecue right here where we live, including one of, if you can get in, one of the Michelin star barbecue places here in Texas. All right, either way. So, Ballistic High Speed. Tank versus human, slow-mo headshot, Ballistic High Speed channel. So if you guys are unfamiliar, it's two dudes with high-speed cameras, and they shoot guns. It sounds a lot like the slow-mo guys. Slow-mo guys are first, but they get to play with better toys. All right, either way.
Welcome to a unique episode of Ballistic High Speed. By now, I think you've all probably seen our bowling ball cannon through the torso video. Well over 10 million views. Today, I think we're gonna step it up.
We're here with Nick and Nick. They are also doing some work out here. And where here is drive tanks. Big shout out to these guys. They are helping us out with
By the way, I want to go
range
to
and getting
there.
all of these aimed up. And speaking of
That's
aimed
in
up,
South Texas, and I want to go
what
there.
is currently aimed at our future victims?
This doesn't look like a bowling ball cannon.
So this is our German Pak 40. It is actually the last Pak 40 that still fires in the world.
Oh.
And right now,
That's pretty cool.
we're about to make that ballistic dummy mincemeat.
Mincemeat.
Wonderful.
I like it.
You're doing a historical breakdown on Sherman stuff.
You're just shooting stuff.
Yeah, I'm just here to watch some tanks blow up some stuff.
We're mostly just shooting stuff,
Yeah,
if we're
that's-
being honest.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here comes an upscaled bowling ball cannon at a torso.
I will say that video seems to be running way behind, because I don't... Oh, that must be for Fat Pews. If that's for Fat Pews, it makes sense why it's taken them so long to get around to doing that. All right. Sorry.
Welcome back to Ballistic High Speed, you sexy YouTube mother lovers. Today,
Hey,
we've got a torso
wrong
set
guy.
up here, staring right down the barrel of our Pak 40. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it.
See, this feels out of place because I don't think you typically have very good slow motion on your channel. So let me just take that from you.
Hey, you're the one who did half of it.
3 collabs together, I believe it was. And welcome to our channel.
Yeah, finally get to be on your channel for a
We
change.
just had to, do the legwork again and come down to Texas again. And
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
fun how
We
he
still
just
love
gets
you.
roasted every time.
I think you guys like me.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Brandon's on screen. You have to double salute if Brandon's on screen.
It's a pretty simple setup. We did the bowling ball cannon, direct hit to a torso.
I watched that one.
We're just scaling it up.
Videos like this have existed on the internet before. Little shout out to Grand Thumb. We've seen his video, of course. We want to get ultra high speed. And so we're going to watch the guts spill out the backside, get the front shots too. So we're going to try to make this as grand as it can be so that nobody else has to do this ever again. All right, let's go load it up, see what happens.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody good?
High speed ready.
All right.
By the way, this was all part of Demolition Ranch's retirement party.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's what I've been looking for this whole trip.
That was like an atomic bomb just went off.
Oh, it got him by
He
surprise.
wasn't even ready.
Come look at this. This is great. He wasn't ready. Watch your boy about to get started.
That's awesome.
I think it was keyholing.
Sorry,
think
what'd you say?
it looked like it did
I
that.
felt that one.
I feel like I just got hit by a car.
That literally felt like somebody just went. Oh.
Dude. Whoo.
That was concussive.
You all right?
That looks like more than the bowling ball. What do you think?
Just a little bit. Yeah. I haven't seen too many diagonal splits like that.
Yeah, me
Did
neither.
that fall right there?
Yeah, it was chilling right there. I was assuming that the head was gonna pop off and do some rocket ship.
It spun him around.
By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, that other guy in the black shirt is Pew View. I'm gotten into gun too. It happens.
Oh, yeah.
That's his belly, his spine's over there. It spun
Oh,
him
it
around.
rotated him.
And he's not even on a post either.
Get rotated. Idiot.
Rotated nerd.
Well, let's go see what it did.
Hoping I triggered it. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
All right.
Okay, this is only 3,000 frames per second, but it's very juicy. Here we go. The head did go up.
That's a big hole.
Was that thing keyholing?
After the fact.
Yeah, you can see the nose of the round divert
Okay.
it down immediately.
It was already kind of starting to divert.
Just a little bit.
Did you see the shockwave?
There's so much blood.
Because it's awesome. Go fetch Dan.
So now we can go watch the spine come out the backside if you want.
Hell
yeah.
Okay, let's go do
Back
that.
shots are always better.
So if you watch the edge of his body right there, it illuminates from the flash right there.
You can see the concussion wave cutting through the air.
That mock cone, yep.
Yeah, look at this. Science. It's
The spine didn't get
science.
pulled out, it just got eviscerated.
Yeah. By the way, it's still moving so fast. After hitting the body, it still has the cone. I don't know if you guys can see it or not on the smaller screen. You can literally see the wave of air in front of it being pushed. You see it pass through the body.
It just turned him into a jelly-filled donut.
It jumps up and flips around.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
Oh,
that.
we on
Yeah.
X Games mode.
And then it lands back on the...
I mean, that did one up the bowling ball cannon, but we're at drive tanks, and that's technically not a tank.
It is like half the name here.
That's an anti-tank, isn't it? We need a tank.
I believe so.
Let's see what they have in stock.
I saw it. They have a tank.
If you didn't know, we are on Pepperbox now, which means all of the exclusive,
know that.
extended, behind-the-scenes stuff shows you how we make our decisions for what tanks we choose and which cameras we choose and how we set that up. All over in Pepperbox, super exclusive.
By the way, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. He had a rocket launcher explode in his face on camera. That is like kind of what made them more famous. They got in, no joke, in high speed, the explosion that nearly killed him. So we watched the explosion that nearly killed Kentucky Ballistics on Patreon. I've yet to actually watch the explosion that nearly kills him.
Loads of content over there too with all of your other
maybe
favorite
we'll do
gun
that.
tubers. It exists nowhere else, not even on your Patreons or anything. Pepperbox only. There's
Also,
a
if
link
you got
in the
a dude in
description
your
below so you
life
can
who
see
likes
all of the
guns,
behind the scenes goodness.
sign him up
Yes,
for
sir. Let's
Pepperbox.
go shoot
It's
some tanks.
Let's go
really
shoot
good
some
stuff.
tanks.
Okay. All right, we just got a delicious torso shot from that Pack 40, and now it looks like we got a little bit of a different gun going on here.
Yes, so we're going to be using an M41 Bulldog tank. This would have saw service in Vietnam.
Yep.
So that's the tank, but what is the projectile? Because that's what we're more focused on here.
So the projectile is a 17-pound hunk of steel that's going to be flying out of that barrel
roughly 3,000, 3,200 feet per second.
So that's like 50 cal speed, but way fatter.
Yeah.
Do you know the kinetic energy?
I don't. I know it'll wreck whatever it hits, though.
So this projectile carries roughly 3.5 million joules of energy.
Well, with those 2 data points, you should be able to map
Speaking
it.
of whatever it's going to wreck.
By the way, the reason the place is called Drive Tanks is because you go to there and you get to drive and/or fire tanks. Yay. That's the reason to go to there. So if you have a man in your life and you love him, take him to Drive Tanks. Unless he has PTSD. Might be a bad idea.
Yeah.
We're going to step it to just a lovely, delicious headshot here. You guys feel confident with your aim? You can nail this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we got this.
So, of course, Ballistic Dummy Lab sent out a beautiful bus. Well, it's beautiful for now.
For a moment.
For a moment. Are you ready to load it up and pop this thing?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'll be impressed if you can get a no shot.
Oh, yeah. I think we can do it.
All right,
Yeah?
awesome. Let's go load it up.
Cool.
See if the Wily X's survive.
Grab on 2 hands, put some body weight into it. This one you got to pull really hard, and trust me, you'll know when it goes off, all right?
Okay.
You'll know when it goes off, he says.
Everybody good?
High speed ready?
High speed ready!
All right, Nick's about to give this a high velocity facelift in 3, 2.
By the way, they have like, on this day, there was probably like 20 different videos being filmed of the same thing by different people for different reasons. Because they were all different YouTubers.
2, 1.
Whoa. Red Mist Cloud number 9.
Holy!
I think you got him.
That thing went everywhere!
Holy crap.
That's probably a good thing we moved your van.
That was so energetic.
All right.
By the way, the generator
Hey,
you
that
hear
was
is
saving?
just to power the high-speed cameras. They take so much
Safe?
power.
Safe.
Good deal. All right.
Are we watching?
Yep.
Get over here.
Sorry, there was a sponsor segment there. 65.
That was a perfect shot.
That was a nose
That
shot.
was a nose shot.
Watched it crunch his nose in.
Damn.
Yeah. All the blood goes up. That's what it's like to chew 5 gum.
It separated the brain from the rest of the head.
And the business, I believe we call that the money shot.
$120,000.
I can't wait to see this on a shitload of shitty gun moves.
Yeah, all over.
Okay.
Great shot, Bryce.
Thank you guys so much for coming to my 3rd channel, Ballistic High Speed. I was
All
joined today by
right.
Bryce, Adam, Nick,
Adam, that's
and
right.
other Nick.
You just wanted to take over once we hit 1 million, right?
Exactly. It's exactly what I'm going to do with Demolition Ranch.
Love it. Thanks so
Right.
much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. Drive Tanks. If you want to have a really cool bachelor party, head over there. Shoot any of the stuff behind us. They got stuff that way too. Fat Electrician, he's doing really cool historical breakdowns on Sherman tanks. And Pew View, he had a lot more guns in his episode. We had the 20mm out for him.
Because things
Got some
go
really delicious
boom, boy.
headshots over there, so go over and head to his channel. And we have Pepperbox exclusive. Head over there if you want to get an in-depth behind the scenes on how we set up Phantom cameras, how we capture this kind of really energetic material.
All these guys are on there too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Lots of exclusive content over there. I think that's about it until we find a bigger tank.
Oh, you have nothing to destroy.
I volunteer.
Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Actually, that video right there, colliding bullets together in slow motion, that's an impressive video. So cool. So cool. Well, I mean, what? Pew View. not pew pew. Yes. Pew view. Because you view the pews. I don't know. Some of them got weird names. It's fine. But no, the one where they're colliding, trying to get two bullets to collide in midair perfectly. It takes them a long time, but it's cool. It's very cool. Like, if you like that kind of stuff on Mythbusters, they take it to, like, obviously to the point of shooting tanks at heads. But yeah. Okay, back to other things. Because you guys, or at least Laura, isn't interested. Show Dan. You'll love it. All right, best I ever had, Gray Sky Morning, Vertical Horizon, from Dave Moffat. Another song I haven't heard in forever. Also another video that doesn't need to be 60 frames per second.
So you sailed away into a gray sky morning. Now I'm here to stay. Love can be so boring.
Dave. Stop it. I know you can shoot videos in 24 frames. I'm bumping this down to 480p, and I'm going to watch it on the tiny screen so it'll look better.
Nothing's quite the same now. I just say you're mine now, but it's not so bad. You're only the best I ever had, and don't want me back. You're just the best I ever had.
Looked like it was raining.
So you stole my world. Now I'm just a phony, remembering the girl leaves me down and lonely. Send it in a letter, make yourself feel better, but it's not so bad. You're only the best I ever had. You don't need me back. You're just the best I ever had. And it may take some time to patch me up inside, but I can't take it, so I run away and hide.
I like the little run.
I may find in time that you were always right. You're always right. So you sailed away into a gray sky morning. Now I'm here to stay. Love can be so boring.
By the way, I was about to criticize that, like, man, he picked a bad day to go do this, and then I remembered Gray Sky Morning.
What was it you wanted? Could it be unwanted? But it's not so bad. You're only the best I ever had. I don't want you back. You're just the best I ever had.
random guitar solo cropping up. I probably didn't notice how much Dave actually has a backwards hat on because we usually see that on Bob. Oh, John, you're spouting weird things. But you'll see this in like 7 minutes. That's okay. Good cover. Haven't heard that song in so long, though. That was a good one. What? No. Sorry. Stupid thing. Oh. Good song. Good song. Stop converting to 60 frames per second when you want 24. It's dumb. Don't do it. Shoot all music videos ever in 24 frames per second. Stop it. And 50 frames per second has 0 points. Stop doing it. Yep. It's a pretty song. I suggest if you've not heard Vertical Horizon, go look up their first album. I think it was their first album. It's the one that's orange and black on the cover. It's pretty easy to... Or was it straight up orange? Might have been straight up orange. Either way, love that one. There's so many, like, for me, iconic songs. All of which I can't remember the titles to. But that's because I've been drinking. And I'm tired. I did not nap today. Okay, so boop that one out of the way. Alrighty. So we got Ghost Towns. Been a minute since we checked in on Ghost Towns, so we got this one here. Before You Leave with Lainey Wilson. Excuse me, that was building up for a while. Record player.
You're standing in the doorway, suitcase at your side, bags are overflowing, half our lives inside.
Not sure how you're feeling,
not sure what's on your mind.
do you wonder what you're leaving?
Now that you're leaving us behind. Maybe my fault, maybe yours, but I think we can agree. We both know love ain't quite enough, so let's just set it free before you leave.
Sorry, him suddenly being dressed confused me. I was like, hey. It was like hairstyle and clothing change.
Set it free before you leave. Before you leave. Before you leave.
Oh, yeah?
Before you leave.
Oh, yeah, we gotta do a request night at some point. It's been too long.
Photographs and memories and everything in between. And those empty spaces on the walls where our promises used to be.
Oh, it may be my fault,
Yeah.
maybe yours, but I think we can agree. Oh, we both know love ain't quite enough, so let's just set it free before you leave.
So, do these guys get radio play? Like, I don't listen to terrestrial radio at all. I have no idea who's being played on the real radio. Like, the only time is when me and the wifey are in the car on the way to church is generally the only time we might catch some actual radio. Because otherwise, she puts on her Spotify, which is, well, it's a smattering of literally all the types of music ever. So you never know song to song what you're going to get. But do Ghost Towns, are they on the radio? I mean, they got Lainey Wilson involved. I don't know how big that makes them.
Before you leave.
Because this is easy radio hit right here.
Before you leave. Before you leave.
Also, great use of sepia tone for this.
Sometimes the right thing feels half wrong when the letting goes harder than the holding on. So let our hearts just fall.
When the letting... Wait, hold on. I want to catch that again.
So let our hearts just fall right off our sleeves. Yeah. Then the holding on. So let our hearts just. Sometimes the right thing feels half wrong when the letting goes harder than the holding on.
When the letting goes harder than the holding on. That feels like the thing that's always, I don't know, perspective, I guess.
So let our hearts just fall right off our sleeves. Yeah,
Nice fiddle.
maybe my fault, maybe yours, but I think we can agree. Oh, we both know love ain't quite enough, so let's just set it free. Oh, it may be my fault, it may be yours, but I think we can agree. Oh, we both know love ain't quite enough, so let's just set it free. Yeah, before you leave. 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 Before you leave.
And by the way, I like this because it does feel like a more moderate level country song instead of like the country subgenre. Yeah, whatever that might be. The rap outlaw rock guys or the Christian rap country guys, which is that's a weird one that I'd never thought would happen. I mean, I really enjoy that. That should be a radio hit. That is ridiculous. That is absurd if that's not a radio hit. I mean, that's 817,000 views in 3 months. I mean, that's actually, pretty bad that we missed that for so long. Subscribe to them. I guess I just never bother. Yeah, I mean, we've watched them like 3, maybe 4 times. House of Home. Interesting. Wait. Is that... I've heard a song that has those lyrics. Is that them? Yeah, this one down here. Official performance video. Okay, so we watched You'll Never Find Me. What was the one on the train? There was the one on the train, I remember. I don't remember what that was. Unless it was that one and I'm just... Oh, that one. Last Train to Nowhere. That was a good one. I feel like there was another one somewhere. I don't know. But now I want to hear... All right, hold on. Let me hear this real quick because I don't know if this is actually that song or not. Because if it is, it's like, wait a minute.
We built this place on nothing but hope. Just love and blood and skin and bone. Too young to know where life can lead. We had forever ago. Then baby started coming.
I think it's a different song. Or this is a cover. I'm not sure. By the way, I know Oliver Anthony has a new awesome song out, Scornful Woman. We need to watch it. No time tonight, but we're going to get after it because I heard him talk about the making of and what happened on Joe Rogan. And I'm like, okay, got to hear that song.
The house came alive.
4 of them. You haven't been here.
No way of seeing the troubles ahead. But sometimes I know that you survive. sticks and bricks and things we own. You and me and wood and stone. The love we made, it keeps us going. But it's the cracks in the walls that make our house a home.
Okay, not the song I thought it was. There's definitely another one like that. Bro has some like ridiculous traps. All right, I'm not gonna go through the rest of the song here. I just wanted to know if it was that song, but we need to remember "Scornful Woman." All right, we'll come back to it. It's fine. It's fine. Maybe we'll do a deep dive on them on the Patreon one day. Yeah, no, we had Sons of Legion in a covers night, I think it was, and then it might have been in the verses actually, and then went back to revisit several of their originals, and Angels is still one of my, like, still love that song. That's such a powerful song. The last one we heard, it was fine, but it didn't hit me as hard. All right, real quick, 1st to 11, and we'll go. Oh, by the way, singing Linger from the Cranberries. Apologies. Also, I like that it's actually a normal music video, not just on stage. They went outside, guys. Man. Oh, yeah. Like, did we miss your birthday entirely then?
If you could return, don't let it burn, don't let it fade. I'm sure I'm not being rude, but it's just your attitude. It's tearing me apart, it's ruining everything. And I swore I would be true, and honey, so did you. So why were you holding her hand? Is that the way to stand? Were you lying all the time? Was it just a game to you? But I'm in so deep. You know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
Well, like, weirdly, it looks like they filmed this almost in the fall. I mean, it's super green, but, like, they're all still wearing, like, warm clothing and stuff. But odds are this was filmed, like, late, somewhere between winter and spring. She keeps changing her hair from blondish, or she was blonde for a while, went back to red. Considering they're using a blue filter on this one, I'm not entirely certain what color she's going with right now. But the last check, I don't think it was that dark. But yeah, she's changed her hair a lot. It would not surprise me if this was actually filmed a while back, but yeah, currently it's more red.
But you're always really new. I just wanna be with you, and I'm in so deep. You know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
So I was trying to remember what movie used the song. It was Click. I'm pretty sure it was in a couple other ones too, but Click, it was like a main theme. Sorry, that song is one of those ones that got embedded. Like, that was, you know, I talked about my when my music style started to change, and like that's when I really started listening to like normal mainstream radio. If you're in the Houston area, you know, the Rod Ryan Show, stuff like that, or even like Mix 96. This is like a big song for like a long, long time. And like whenever I would actually, instead of listening to CDs and stuff, I would put on just the radio and usually be playing video games, pumping music, you know, and so I would do that like all night long, all afternoon long, and stuff like that. Sometimes these songs were like just in the playlist, like just over and over and over. You know, so yeah. No, that song's embedded in my head. I think they did a really good job. I mean, like Audra's voice is a little bit different, obviously, to the original singers, but I think she did a good job there. I thought it was pretty good, considering. I just like that they the first two of them, Bonkers Club. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, they got a lot of members and patrons and stuff. That's pretty cool. Very, very cool. So they could afford to go on tour. Is what it is. Yes, happy belated birthday, Christine. Sorry you weren't here. Sorry you were sick. And whenever we get around to doing a request night, you can throw one in there because we missed your birthday. But hey, you got a shout out on the podcast from 2 or 3 weeks ago. I forget which one. All right, either way. Okay, so it's been a little bit of time since we checked out Corvix, but he's doing Rolling in the Deep. If we're going to do like a Rolling in the Deep versus, it would be this versus our good friends over at... wow, my brain just went dead. Help me out, Denise. You know what I'm talking about. Wow. Why am I drawing a blank? Oscar's band that's coming to town. Well, Dallas. I'm drawing a blank. Either way. Dark cinematic cover of Rolling in the Deep. This might suck, or it might be good. But it's a dude singing in Adele's original key, which is also, look, we know the video is going to be strange, just whatever. No resolve, thank you. Okay, photo. Oh, flashy lights for anybody who has issues. There's strobe warning.
The scars of your love remind me of us. They keep me thinking that we almost had it. The scars of your love, they leave me breathless. We could have had it all, rolling in the deep. You had my heart inside, and you played it to the beat. Baby, I have no story to be told, but I've heard one on you, and I'm gonna make your head burn. Think of me in the depths of your despair.
Tired brain, I'm telling you.
Down there as my soul will be shared. The scars of your love remind me of keep me thinking that we almost had it. The scars of your love, they leave me breathless. I can't help feeling we could have had it all, rolling in the deep. You have my heart inside, and you played it to the beat. We could have had it all, rolling in the deep. You have my heart inside, but you played it with a beating. Throw your soul through every open door. Count your blessings to find what you look for. Turn my sorrow into treasure gold. You'll pay me back and kind of reap just what you sow.
Sorry, I just know the video is going to be weird, so I'm just enjoying the music.
We could have had it all. It all, it all, it
There we go.
We could have had it all, rolling in the deep. You have my heart inside, and you played it to the beat. We could have had it all,
I'm enjoying this.
in the deep. You have my heart inside, but you played it, you played it, you played it to the beat.
Nice. I enjoyed that. Oh. Well, he did do that change. He was wearing almost no clothing at all, or jewelry or anything. The last video we watched, he basically had almost nothing on. Look, he's an odd fellow. It is what it is. I'm mostly here for the singing part, not the outfit choices. Also, I kind of miss the silver hair. It's been a long time since he's done that, but I kind of miss it. It was good. It was a look. It was a look. I enjoyed that though. I liked that. I liked the big heavy, like the really heavy drums and stuff. Like it wasn't, and it also wasn't like super far away from the original song. Just obviously just a different vibe, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. Probably a little bit more because I was answering text messages and searching for emails. Yeah. Sorry, because of the event we're going to tomorrow, Jeff was asking me if he needed to print out tickets, and I was like, I don't think there's a physical ticket to print. I think the reason you have to put your name on the registration is so that when you get there, you show ID, you get your relevant stuff associated to your ticket. So that's the thing. Yeah, haunting sound. That's exactly what he's going for. I mean, you're gonna have to probably go way back to the beginning of his YouTube career for fair. All right, guys. So now, first time we're gonna be doing something like this on the channel. We're gonna be reacting live to a Fat Electrician video. It's a long one. It's a long one. We normally go to about 10:15, 10:20, and we're probably gonna wrap up round about there because this is about 38 minutes. But it's a big one. It's a newest one. So, World War II vets versus corrupt cops, the Battle of Athens, Tennessee. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Fat Electrician, I don't know what kind of people you're watching react to things. Everyone reacts to the Fat Electrician because everyone somehow watches the proportional video. That is like his most watched video, period. So there you go. Also, he had the Fat Files last weekend with How to Become an Electrician. Trade school is a scam. Pretty interesting take on that whole situation. Yeah. That's fine. If you've already seen it, you've already seen it. Like I said, I started watching it and was not paying enough attention. I was doing like 3 other things. I think I was even cooking while I was trying to do it. It's like, no, you have to pay attention when Nick is talking because you're going to miss some stuff. So grab your guns in the big old title. Nick looking kind of like oof. He's definitely got an oof face on there, not a normal happy-go-lucky face. Though I wonder what his next Fat Files videos. I really enjoy the Fat Files. If you're not following the Fat Files channel, you need to, because that's where he does all his non-military stuff. You know, like Costco and Aldi and stuff. I think he's got another one coming out for Aldi or something. He's like, I think he's going back and doing long form versions of his original like 3 or 4 minute long videos. So I think we have that in the future. But he's also got like 4 podcasts and 2 other shows with people. He doesn't do electricity much anymore. He makes content constantly. Maybe. We'll see. All right, let's go.
Ah, yes, the only successful armed rebellion in U.S. history.
Hold on. You might have a good point there, Trisha. All right, so I'm going to redo this here. All right. Start recording. Might as well just go ahead and record it while I'm at it. Yeah, burn my computer up. Here, hold on. Let me increase my fan speed here so my computer doesn't explode. All right, we're going to check out the Fat Electrician here on the live stream. The World War II vets versus corrupt cops. The Battle of Athens, Tennessee.
Ah, yes, the only successful armed rebellion in U.S. history. Today we're talking about the Battle of Athens, aka the Battle of the Ballads, aka the War of McMinn County, whatever you want to call it. The fact of the matter is that in 1945 and 1946, hundreds of Americans returned home to McMinn County, Tennessee after winning World War II. Upon their return, they would discover that their local government had been corrupted. They were engaging in rigging elections, the sheriff's department was mercilessly beating innocent civilians and extorting hundreds of thousands of dollars from taxpayers, and they decided to do something about it. This story has achieved legendary status, with many people hearing and knowing about it in passing, but very few people understand how epic this story actually is.
By the way, I have a apologies, Nick. I have a ad skipper on. Sorry. I know your ads are generally funny, but this actually makes it a bit more like Pepperbox. All of you should go sign up for Pepperbox if you're remotely interested in stuff like this, the Unsubscribed podcast, actually a whole bunch of different podcasts that are over there that they don't put up on YouTube, and all the fun GunTube content that YouTube also won't allow because, you know, heaven forbid something has more than 10 rounds in it. So if you have a man in your life, or you yourself like guns, go check out Pepperbox. It's only like $8 a month, and there is more content than even I can watch. It's crazy. Crump. Okay.
All right, sit down, shut up. This is complicated, so pay attention. All right, our story begins in 1910 when a man by the name of Edward Crump becomes the mayor of Memphis, Tennessee. Upon becoming mayor, he sets out to build a political machine. The way he does this is he's willing to look the other way for illegal gambling and alcohol operations as long as they're willing to pay a large protection fee to Mayor Crump. He then uses that money to influence other elections, effectively having all the other politicians and judges and elected officials in his back pocket. Anybody that dares to go against him is absolutely crushed. If you're a local businessman and you don't agree with him and you're not willing to play by his rules, guess what? You're going to have no parking signs.
Actually, I just remembered what ad is on this one, and I'm sad we skipped it because it's funny.
In front of your entire store. If that's not enough, on one occasion, he actually had the police department stand outside somebody's store and search every customer when they went in and when they left. And if that wasn't enough, he would have city inspectors go in and find out that, oh, your business isn't up to code, we're gonna have to shut you down. And more often than not, there was no legal recourse because he owned the judges too. Over the course of decades, this would expand throughout the entire city of Memphis and then the entire Shelby County area, the most populated county in Tennessee, and then it would spread throughout the entire state of Tennessee. By the late 1920s, Crump was literally known as Boss Crump, the King of Memphis.
What, you some type of pimp?
I mean, look at him. He even looks like a 1930s silent movie villain. Anyways, by the 1930s, Crump has essentially the entire state of Tennessee in his back pocket. Absolutely everybody. Politicians, sheriffs, elected officials, judges, all of it. And in 1936, he backs a man by the name of Paul Cantrell to be the sheriff of McMinn County. Now, Paul Cantrell wins by a landslide, A, because he's backed by Crump, but B, he also runs on a really, really good platform that he was going to put an end to fee grabbing. Now, at this point in time, the sheriff's department wasn't paid by taxpayer dollars. They were almost exclusively paid for by the fines that they collected. Now, that sounds crazy to us today because it is crazy for obvious reasons. You are now putting a financial incentive to law enforcement to arrest and fine as many people as possible, and in a lot of places, that's exactly what happened. So Cantrell,
I mean, that's what it feels like it is nowadays, but that's not true.
came along and he was like, I'm going to put an end to that because it's obviously ridiculous, which is a good thing to want to put an end to. He said, you know what? I'm going to take a $5,000 a year annual salary, and that's going to be it. And I'm only going to fine and charge people and arrest people when they deserve it, and I'm not going to do it to make more money. That's a great platform and a just cause, so he wins. And then after winning, he decides, I'm not going to do that.
I lied.
So the McMinn County government steps in and is like, no, you ran on that platform. We're going to go ahead and make it a law that you're going to take this $5,000 a year salary, just like you said you would, and that's going to be that. So Cantrell ends up filing a lawsuit suing the county, and he wins because he's backed by Crump. So now he's allowed to keep
per city. It's a big number. Get them all out. Take them all out.
Fee grabbing, and he takes it to an absolute extreme. Anybody that was arrested for anything was charged a minimum of $16, and that was the fee for getting arrested, getting driven to court, being booked, going through the whole process. $6 went to the arresting officer, and the other 10 went into the sheriff's department and the court system. To put it into perspective, $16 at this point in time is about $300 today. And they were arresting anyone for anything they felt like, including drunkenness. They would literally just walk somewhere and be like, hey, you look drunk, you're under arrest. This was the 1930s. There's no breathalyzer. There's no field sobriety test. Literally, the deputy says, I think...
Also, that was a Hot Fuzz clip.
You're drunk? Guess what? You're fucking drunk. Give me $300. In the first 4 years he was sheriff, Cantrell paid himself $56,000, which is over $1 million in today's money. He also gave himself jobs that didn't exist. He was the superintendent of the county shed, earning him $2,500 a year. There was no county shed for him to be the superintendent of, but guess what? He's collecting the money. And anybody that dared to go against him would get brutally beaten, if not killed by his deputies, and they never got in trouble because the judges were part of the good old boy system. One of the primary judges involved in this was Judge Sue Hicks. And to be fair, Sue Hicks has almost nothing to do with the rest of the story, so why am I bringing him up in the first place? Well, because he's actually the inspiration for the legendary Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue, and I thought that was interesting.
I said, my name is Sue. How do you do? How you gonna die?
Anyways, moving on. Now, this goes on for years. The entire town's mad about it. Everybody's pissed off, but there's nothing anybody can do. There's no legal recourse, and if they try to stand up to them, they're just gonna get the shit kicked out of them by the deputies, so everybody just kind of lives with it. But hey, the silver lining, we live in a democracy. A couple years from now, we're just gonna have another election, and we'll vote this guy out, we'll get a new sheriff, and hopefully that'll be a good guy. Well, next election rolls around, and they rigged the entire thing. Now, at this point in time in Tennessee, they had a poll tax. Basically, you had to pay money if you wanted to exercise your right to vote, which sounds crazy to us today, but that's how it worked back then. And it also wasn't that big of a deal at this point in time because usually the Democrat and Republican parties were willing to pay the poll taxes for the voters to show up and vote. So basically, the party was fronting the bill for people to come in and vote. But the problem was is that you had to go pay.
But where would the party get the money to pay for the people to come and vote? Donations?
Your poll tax prior to the day of voting. So you had to go pay your poll tax and then have the valid receipt showing that you paid your poll tax and turn that in when you went to vote. But you had to pay that poll tax like months in advance. So what they would do is they would never publish or put out to the masses when the deadline to pay your poll tax was, so unless you were in the know and they knew how you were going to be voting. Then they would let you know, hey, you got to buy your poll tax by this time. So they were essentially disenfranchised.
I mean, I'm not entirely against the idea. Because it's definitely incentive. It's like not just anybody can vote. You got to literally buy your way in to vote.
Anybody that wasn't on their side. On top of that, dead people voted. People that didn't exist voted. The deputies got caught telling elderly people that if they didn't, quote, vote the right way that their pensions would be held up. They also claimed that there was 1,500 absentee votes, which was a staggering number considering the neighboring county, Knox County, that had 6 times the population, had never reported more than 600 absentee ballots. In addition to that, nobody was allowed to observe or poll
This sounds
watch,
like
and if they
2020
tried, they
all
would get
over
the
again.
shit kicked out of them by the deputies, and then they'd get arrested. So Cantrell obviously wins the next election because he rigged the entire thing. The people of McMinn County know that this is absolute bullshit. They're writing their state and federal politicians. The Department of Justice ends up launching an investigation in 1940. Nothing ever comes of it because Crump has connections in the federal government too. 1941 rolls around, Japan fucks around with America's boats, America enters World War II, and all the young men go off to war. Then in 1942, Cantrell decides his sheriff gig is too small for him. He's gonna run for Tennessee State Senate, and he's gonna appoint...
Yeah, so it's Cantrell. He said Cantel. That's what it said down here in the corner. There's a really big video he did a little while ago. I forget exactly which... It's like one of the, I don't remember if it was one of the sniper guys. He's got a massive typo, and it is on very, very big letters on the screen. I screen capped it and shared it on Twitter. I'm like, hey, Nick, I know you've already got like 100,000 views on that, but that is a massive typo that somehow got past your editor.
His right-hand man, Pat Mansfeld, to be the sheriff. Now, Cantrell is running against an incumbent politician, and this guy knows the ropes. He knows that Crump owns the entire state of Tennessee, and he knows that he's going to be backing Cantrell, so he pretty much immediately just drops out of the race, and Cantrell runs unopposed. The incumbent senator that dropped out of the race, a man by the name of Robert Lindsay, when asked why he didn't put up a fight, said, and I quote, "I have been elected to state senate from McMahon, Bradley, Roane, and Anderson counties for 3 terms, each time by fair and honest methods. I might be elected again, but if I do so, it would be necessary for my friends in Bradley, Roane, and Anderson to resort to the same kinds of methods my opposition has convinced me it will use in McMahon. I do not intend to use such methods." Translation, I can't win unless I cheat, and I'm not gonna cheat. So Cantrell wins, becomes a...
That's so funny, because that kind of situation came up last night on Timcast. And I was thinking, it's like, literally the only way that you could move forward is to do exactly the immoral thing that your opponent did. It wasn't an election, but it was, the argument was, if something's not illegal or unconstitutional, but it is immoral, do you stoop to their level to somehow get around to it finally actually becoming illegal? And that way you could prosecute on, make something a crime that for some reason is being ignored as one.
State senator. From here, he goes about making it even easier to cheat in elections. What he does in McMinn County is he cuts it from 23 precincts, 23 voting locations throughout the county, down to 12, making it so people have to travel up to 20 miles to go vote. Bear in mind, this is the 1940s in rural Tennessee. People don't have cars, okay? People are walking to voting locations. They're riding fucking horses, okay? Would you travel 20 miles on horseback or walk 20 miles to go vote in a sheriff's election? Probably not, especially if you had to pay money and you didn't know when you had to pay the money and you don't have the fucking receipt.
If I ain't getting down there, it ain't worth it.
In addition to that, now that he's cut it down to 12 precincts instead of 23, now he can have more armed thugs there to intimidate people as they go to vote to make sure they're voting the right way. From here, 1942 election rolls around. They rig the entire thing. Pat Mansfield wins. DOJ investigates, comes up with nothing. 2 years later, same exact thing, 1944. They rig the election. DOJ investigates. Nothing gets done.
A lot of
September
this
25th,
very
1944,
familiar.
a Navy Seabee by the name of Earl Ford comes back home to McMinn County. He's in his Navy uniform still, just got home from the war, and he decides he's going to go out to the bar and have a good time in his military uniform. Now, to a normal person like you and me in 1944, seeing somebody in their Navy uniform coming home to the bar, you would probably think in your head, oh, it's a war hero coming home from the war. That's what a normal, sane, decent person would think. But to the deputies of McMinn County, all they saw was dollar signs because they know know that he probably has a ton of money because he's been racking up and saving the entire time he was in military service, and they're gonna arrest him and fine the shit out of him so they can make money. Upon leaving the bar,
Good luck
several
with that.
deputies decide that they are going to engage Earl by hitting him in the back of the head with a club, not like, hey sir, why don't you come here so we can talk, not hey, I think you're drunk in public.
just went
No words
straight
were
to
exchanged.
assault.
They just hit him in the head. Obviously, he's dazed, doesn't know what's going on. He turns around and tries to put up a fight and, I don't know, maybe defend himself like any normal person would, not exactly resisting arrest when they open up by attacking you, at which point they draw a gun, shoot him in the chest, and kill him. Obviously, this upsets a lot of people in town that they just killed a young man coming home from the war, at which point the deputies claimed that he pulled a knife on them and tried to stab him, and they were forced to shoot him. None of the witnesses that were there corroborated that. He was in a Navy uniform that didn't have pockets, so they don't know where he would be able to conceal a knife. And when they asked where the knife was after the fact, after shooting him in the chest, somehow the knife that he would have had in his hand trying to stab the police officer allegedly wound up behind him and underneath his dead body. And of course, the deputies get away with it. The deputy that shot him didn't even get fired or reprimanded because he's one of the boys of the political system, and that's the way this shit works.
Yep. I mean, I could totally see how a knife can disappear, completely fall behind and underneath the dead body, or the body that's dying, because, I mean, some of the guys investigating Hillary Clinton died of two self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the back of their head. I mean, who cares about physics?
Make our own luck.
1945 rolls around. World War II comes to a close. All of the young men from McMinn County that went off and fought all end up coming home. And the deputies just see more and more dollar signs, right? Anytime you see a young man between like 18 to 25, that guy served in the military, probably has a bunch of money. When World War II veterans left the service, they got mustering out pay, one big lump sum, so they know that they can just arrest these guys and find the shit out of them and make a ton of money. One of the first veterans to have a run-in with the deputies is Sergeant Bill White from the United States Marine Corps. This man fought on Guadalcanal and Tarawa, and then after that went on to become a jungle warfare instructor stateside. His dad sends him over to the rationing board because it's World War II, just got over, they still have all these rationing committees. They're rationing rubber, sugar, gasoline, all kinds of things that people need. You have to have ration stamps and everybody's only allowed to get so much. So dad sends his son Bill down to the rationing board to get 5 gallons of gas. Rationing board is like, no. And Bill's like, all right. So he goes to his buddy who had been in town longer and is like, hey, the rationing board basically just told me to fuck off when I wanted to get some gas. What's the deal? And he goes, oh, there's a deputy at the rationing board. You need to go pay him off and then he'll wave you through and the rationing board will give you whatever you want. So Bill goes over to the deputy, pays him $5. Deputy waves it off. He gets his 5 gallons of gas and he leaves. And Bill watches the deputy pocket the money. Bill has no idea what the fuck just happened. He's thrown off. So he goes home and tells his dad, who was a Cav scout in World War I, this story. And his dad's like, yeah, that's just how it is here now. And his dad proceeds to tell him this story about how he was on lunch break from work and he had a bottle of milk that he was drinking out of his lunch pail. And the deputy showed up, sniffed his milk and said there was alcohol in it and arrested him for being drunk and fined him $16, which was almost a week's pay for him. So Bill's pretty pissed off, obviously. And within a matter of months, pretty much every veteran that had returned home from the war was equally as pissed off because they were all being targeted by the sheriff's department because they knew that they had money. The deputies got so bold that they would go into bars, not wait outside for them to stagger out drunk. They would just go into bars and start arresting people for being drunk inside of a bar. On multiple occasions, they would walk into a bar if there was like a dance or a big event and just arrest absolutely everybody there. Not because they were doing anything wrong, just because they wanted to get the money. So the veterans understandably started to get pretty pissed off and they would just start drinking in private. They'd have their own private parties that the deputies didn't know about so they could hang out with their friends in peace and not get arrested all the time. So all the veterans obviously wound up becoming really close friends. They all got together, they'd drink in private, they'd swap war stories. There's a guy by the name of John Fry who said he became the most powerful man in France for a couple weeks when his unit overtook a cognac distillery and he had all the liquor in France. So he was like, you know, the most powerful guy around, wheeling and dealing with all of his booze. Carl Anderson told the story about how a German officer threatened to cut his finger off when he refused to give him his wedding ring. Tom Dooley would always bring his pet monkey POV that he acquired while he was overseas and somehow smuggled back home to Tennessee. Like, it was just a group of crazy, incredible men that had awesome stories that wound up becoming friends and bonded over the fact that they were all being discriminated against for their service. And as time went on, they went from drinking and discussing war stories to talking about the current political climate and how to fix it. And as they talked to townspeople, they started to realize, oh, they're literally rigging the elections. They rigged.
By the way, I would like to say it's good to see Nick able to move his left arm again. So I assume that here in about 3 months, his right arm's going to be fucked up again. He just goes from injury to injury. Torn bicep. Was it a torn bicep? Yeah, I think that's what happened this last time. But he also, like, tore both his pecs over the last couple years. That's when he had time to get big. But I think he tore his bicep the last go around.
1942, 1944, and they're probably going to rig this next one in 1946. We need to do something. So they went to the only political opposition that the Cantel Mafia had, a man by the name of Otto Kennedy, a local businessman that owned the tire shop in town, and he agreed to help him, and his tire shop became their new hangout. Leading up to the 1946 election, this group of veterans put out an ad in the paper reaching out to more veterans, basically saying if you were a veteran, and I quote, regardless of color or creed, if interested in cleaning up McMinn County and the return of good, clean, honest, and efficient government, don't fail to attend this event. Hundreds of veterans winded up showing up to this event, and they essentially pitched the idea to this crowd of veterans like, hey, look, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or the color of your skin, we can all agree that this is fucked up and we need to restore order. We should band together and form a GI ticket, and we will run against Cantel and all of his men and replace all of them. And they all agreed, and they picked their candidates. Sergeant Henry Knox, who had served 40 months overseas, agreed that he would run for sheriff. Major Frank Carmichael volunteered to run as treasurer. Captain Bill Hamby was going to be the clerk of the court, and Captain Charlie Pickle was going to be the register of deeds. They had just selected the GI cleanup ticket, and their slogan was going to be, your vote will be counted as cast. And they chose that as their slogan because they knew they didn't need to win over the voters. Those voters would vote for anybody that wasn't part of this corrupt political machine, and the real struggle was going to be convincing the voters to show up and vote, because by this point in time, over the course of the last decade, they'd been so demoralized into knowing that no matter what happens, they're going to rig the election. They're going to take my money. If I show up, I'm just going to get harassed by armed gunmen and arrested, and then I'm going to have a target on my back. I'm just not even going to go vote. That was a real struggle. That was a hurdle they needed to overcome, was convincing the populace of McMinn County that this time democracy was going to work. They were not going to let them rig this election. These young men went across the world and fought for democracy and won, and now they came back home. They're going to fight for it again, and they're going to win again. And the veterans went absolutely ham trying to prove this to every single person in McMinn County. They literally went to every single door in the entire county and had personal conversations with every single person. Almost every person in McMinn County had personally met at least one member on the GI ticket and spoke to them in person. Felix had acquired a Piper Cub airplane somehow, and they were literally crop dusting pamphlets over the town for the GI ticket. They had trucks rigged up with loudspeakers, and they would drive around town telling everybody, show up, vote, your vote is going to count this time. And after a while, it started.
They showed that in. They showed that happening in Back to the Future 1, when Goldie Wilson was driving around in a van with loudspeakers on it, like a almost like an ice cream van, but for mayor of Hill Valley.
To work. People started to believe that their vote was actually going to count this time, so they went, they paid the poll tax, they got their receipt, and what the deputies did in retaliation was they would go out and they would arrest veterans, and when they arrested them, if they had their poll tax receipt on them, they would confiscate it and not give it back, so they couldn't vote. So they started reaching out to the bigger government. They wrote to the governor, they wrote to the attorney general, they wrote to Washington, D.C. One person even went as far as to tell the attorney general, if there's bloodshed this year, it's on your hands, and nobody did anything. As the election got closer and closer, there was really no campaigning from the machine side. They just upped the amount of harassment the deputies were doling out to veterans and anybody they thought might be friendly to those veterans. That's all they did. They were just in it to make more money. Why did they need to campaign? They were going to rig the election. They knew they were going to win. But they were starting to get a little bit nervous. So Paul Cantrell would step down from Senate, and he was going to come back to McMinn County, and he was going to run for sheriff this year. And his right-hand man, Mansfield, was going to take his spot in the Senate. And then Election Day came, August 1st, 1946. And you got to realize it's just a small sheriff's department. They've only got like 30 deputies. There's hundreds of veterans. The veterans guaranteed that everybody would be safe going to the polls, and these armed thugs aren't going to be able to outmuscle the veterans. There's just not enough of them. And then a literal caravan of cars came into McMinn County and Athens, Tennessee. Cantrell had brought in over 250 armed men, any men that he could find, other deputies from other counties, police departments, prison guards. They even deputized some prisoners, a lot of which were literally violent criminals. At this point, the veterans know shit's about to hit the fan because Cantrell now has 250 armed men manning the 12 precincts. They are going to intimidate absolutely everybody. So the GIs got together and issued a statement over the radio to the people of McMinn County. Quote, "Go to your precincts, vote, and stick around all day to hear who wins. This is not old Germany. Hitler is not telling you how to vote. Don't be bothered."
Hold on. I don't know if that was actually a quote. It says, "Go to your precincts, vote, and stick around all day to hear who wins." I think there's an unfortunate typo there.
Wins. This is not old Germany. Hitler is not telling you how to vote. Don't be bothered by any scare campaign. Cantrell's henchmen may try. You will be safe at the polls, and your vote will be counted as cast. The polling locations open up at 9 a.m. and in Athens, Tennessee, the county seat where most of the voting is going to be taking place, there's 3 voting locations: the Dixie Cafe, the Waterworks, and the courthouse. And at every single location, there is hundreds of people standing outside at 9 a.m. waiting to vote. Lines literally wrapping around the block. This is going to be a record-breaking election. And as soon as the polls open, shit hits the fan immediately. The armed thugs are intimidating everybody. They're only letting people in small groups so they have control and intimidation. They're not letting anybody stick around to poll watch to make sure things are being done correctly. They're actively rigging the election, and everybody knows it. And then one of the deputies by the name of Wendy Wise decides he's not going to let an elderly black gentleman by the name of Tom Gillespie vote. Tom isn't putting up with it. He's put up with enough shit his whole life. He's a black guy in the 1940s in the South. Like, he's seen some shit.
Yeah.
He's not putting up with shit from this deputy. So he's like, no, I'm going to vote. It's my right. He goes to do it, and Wendy Wise proceeds to assault him with brass knuckles, and the situation devolves to him shooting Tom Gillespie. Now shit has officially hit the fan. Thank God Tom Gillespie survives, but that's not the point. The veterans said that you would be safe if you showed up and exercised your right as a citizen to vote, and these guys have now made the veterans a liar.
Really? I'll fix that.
So the 2 veteran poll watchers that were there at the Waterworks when Tom was shot, Ed Vastel and Charlie Scott, confront the deputies. They end up arresting them and bringing them into the Waterworks and tying them up. Other veterans start showing up, demanding that they release the veteran poll watchers. Guns start getting pointed, at which point Ed and Scott decide, you know what? Fuck this, we're gonna free ourselves. They get out of their ropes. Scott throws himself at the glass door, bounces right back off it, hops back up again, throws himself at the glass door again, breaks through, gets all cut up from the glass. Him and Ed run out into the crowd with their hands up, hoping that's enough to not get shot, and disappear into the crowd. Now, obviously, Ed and Scott go back to the Otto's tire shop, the GI HQ, and they're hanging out there. So Cantrell sends in 2 deputies to the tire shop, which is full of fucking World War II veterans, to arrest Scott and Ed.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
The veterans immediately and promptly disarm the deputies, beat the fucking shit out of them, tie them up, and throw them on a burn pile. Sheriff's Department, getting curious, doesn't hear from their deputies for a while.
If you missed that, it's burn pile not actively on fire.
So, what do you do when something doesn't work? Double tap. You do it again, right?
Yeah,
they send 2 more deputies out to investigate.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Promptly disarmed, get the shit kicked out of them, tied up, thrown on the burn pile with the other 2. Sheriff's Department doesn't hear from those guys for a while. That's fucking weird. Maybe we should send some more sheriffs out there to investigate.
Double it!
So they send a total of 4 deputies now out to a building full of World War II veterans in 1946. 3 of them get captured, disarmed, get the shit kicked out of them, and thrown on the burn pile, and 1 of them gets away. Cutting over to Otto Kennedy, he's been out of town all day trying to get the federal government or the state government to intervene to fix this situation. He shows back up to his tire shop. He sees 7 deputies tied up on a burn pile, and he's like, what the fuck is happening? The veterans explain everything, and he's like, nope, I'm fucking out. I didn't see anything. I don't know shit. I'm going home. You guys do whatever. The veterans then walk outside, basically onto Main Street in Athens. There's people all over the place, hundreds of people from McMinn County all around watching these events unfold. And they're just like, hey, who's got a couple of cars we could borrow? And these people are like, you know, they're on the GI's side. So people volunteer to let them take their cars. They then proceed to load these 7 deputies up into these cars, drive them out into the forest, strip them butt-ass naked, tie them to trees, whip them with hickory sticks, and then head back to the tire shop. 7 down, 243 to go.
I'm sorry.
That's so many.
Ow! I hate you. You're awful.
And while that was going on at a different polling
What movie was
location, the
that?
deputies had arrested 2 veteran poll watchers.
What movie was that? I know it's about a fat camp, but I don't remember what that was called. Somebody will know.
Bob Harold and Tom Dooley, because they confronted the deputies for letting people vote that didn't have poll tax receipts and even letting small children vote. They promptly
Hell yeah.
beat up both the veterans and took them to jail. At this point, shit has completely hit the fan. There's journalists there with cameras. The deputies are arresting journalists. They're confiscating cameras. They're destroying film. They are in full cover-up mode to rig this election. From here, the deputies illegally closed the
called
polls
heavyweights.
early. Then they refuse to let anybody examine any of the ballots in the ballot boxes. They come out with a bunch of men with shotguns and high-powered rifles, and they take the ballot boxes into the jail, and they're not going to let anybody watch the count. And at this point, there's the aura of failure everywhere. They failed. They're going to go in there.
Yep.
They're going to count. They're going to mess up the count. They're going to rig the count. They're going to rig this election again. The veterans failed after they guaranteed votes would be counted as cast, and there's nothing they can do about it. So the veterans go back to the tire shop. They go back to HQ, and they sit there and they wait. They just have to wait for the count to come out. They know what the results are going to be, but they wait. The townspeople are out on Main Street in Athens. They're waiting too, and it's just quiet. It's ominous. They lost. And then finally, Bob White stands up, the one from earlier, the Marine that fought in Tarawa and Guadalcanal. He's got a Purple Heart from being shot through the hip in combat. He is a jungle warfare instructor in the United States Marine Corps, and he's had enough of this shit. He stands up and delivers an impromptu speech, and I'm paraphrasing, but in essence, he essentially says, you all went overseas for 4 or 5 years of your lives and fought tyranny across an ocean, and now you're all just gonna sit here in silence and live in tyranny in your own home.
Yeah.
We're not gonna put up with this shit. Go home, get your guns, and meet back here. The veterans get up, they go home, they come back with their guns.
Sorry, it said, and maybe some dynamite. That's funny.
It's not much. They've got some hunting shotguns, hunting rifles, pistols, not nearly enough to confront the 55 armed deputies inside of that jail in a fortified fighting position. At which point, Bob decides, we're gonna need some more firepower. From here, they get up and they head over to the National Guard Armory. There's one guy from the National Guard there holding down the fort. They show up with guns and they're like, fork over the keys. He's more than happy to do it, gives them the keys. They go in, open up the armory, take a bunch of rifles, Tommy guns, pistols, ammo, everything they want. From
Hell
here,
yeah.
the accounts vary widely on how many armed veterans were there. Bob White said he had about 60 men under his command, but there's some people saying that there was hundreds. There's even a couple accounts saying that there was as many as 2,000 armed veterans. I think that that person was thinking the overall crowd in general, because the whole town is there watching. From here, the deputies go out, they completely surround the jail, sun's going down, so they shoot out all the street lights so that the deputies aren't gonna be able to see where they're at. Then they get keys to all the surrounding buildings, and the people of the town are willingly just giving them the keys because
They're all
they're
done with this
overthrowing
shit.
the corrupt government. Why wouldn't you help?
By
The
the way,
veterans are
is
up
there
on top
not
of
a
roofs, they're
movie
in
of
windows,
this?
they're in all the buildings surrounding this jail. They have the entire thing on lockdown. Now, by this point, the deputies know something's up. Some of them are outside in front of the jail. They're completely surrounded by
Or a
armed veterans.
miniseries.
There's fucking 1,000 civilians watching in the background. At which point, one of the veterans chimes in and is like, bring the ballot boxes out. We're going to count them all right here, right now. We're going to see who won this election. To which
well, I
the
guess there was
deputies
a movie of it.
respond, you're going to have to come get them.
Come and get them.
At which point, the veterans respond, all right.
Yep.
And all you hear is safeties on guns click off as all the deputies hear that. They run and dive for cover, and the veterans open fire on the jail. Some of the deputies get hit. They're hiding behind cars, limping for cover. The rest of the deputies run inside the jail and take cover. They start returning fire. All the civilians are scattering in the background, not really leaving the scene. They're trying to find somewhere safe because they also want to watch this shit unfold, and it's just chaos. From here, a pretty intense firefight ensues, but the jail's basically impenetrable. bullets made out of brick. All the veterans are behind covers. Not a lot of people are getting hit, but some people are getting hit by ricochets, bird shot, other things like that. As this firefight
Lots of ammo
unfolds, the
being
townspeople kind of get acclimated to being in a firefight, I guess, and get a little bit more brazen and start watching a little bit closer. Some of them take it upon themselves to go and vandalize all of the cop cars and overturn them. Veterans are flipping cars for more cover. It's just a complete shit show. After a while, the initial firefight dies down and it just kind of devolves into a standoff where they're taking pop shots at each other back and forth. Inside the jail, Cantrell and Mansfield are shitting their pants. They're on the phone. They're calling up the National Guard. The National Guard's getting ready to mobilize. They call the sheriff of Polk County asking for backup.
It looks like there
He
was a
promptly
movie of
responds,
this.
What are you,
this
fucking
footage.
crazy? No, get out of here. You did this to yourself. I'm not going to go fight a bunch of World War II veterans. No. So Mansfield calls Otto Kennedy. Kennedy picks up the phone, and Mansfield, still trying to sound tough, is like, Otto, your boys are down here shooting up the jail. You need to come get them, or we're going to take care of them. To which Otto responds, all right, go get them. Hangs up.
You just hung up on me mid-sentence.
One of the veterans ends up finding out that the National Guard got called and they're going to mobilize, so he notifies the ringleader, Bob White, and Bob White is like, all right, first things first, we're going to go cut the phone line to the jail so they can't do that shit again. Also, don't tell anybody else. It's going to take hours for him to get here. I don't need you making everybody scared. Keep that shit under wraps. From here, Bob's kind of like, okay, well, National Guard's going to show up eventually. We should probably hurry this shit up. We should have a couple of hours. Let's go get some gasoline and some glass bottles and make us some Molotov cocktails, see if we can't convince them to leave the jail. So the veterans make Molotov cocktails, throw them at the jail. It's a brick building, not very effective. Fire burns out, not a big deal. At which point, one of the veterans is like, I work for the county and we got
What do you mean, is this supposed to be a real event? This is history, Christine. This happened. This is a history lesson.
dynamite in the county shed. You want me to go get it? Fuck yeah, I do. While they're going to get the dynamite, they go and start rendering aid to some of the deputies that have been shot. I mean, they've been laying there for a couple hours moaning and groaning at this point. One of the veterans actually gives a direct blood transfusion to the deputy, despite the fact that he's, you know, the enemy. It's not really his enemy. He's just doing what he has to do. And I think this is a cool part of the story where it's like, the veterans didn't want to do this. They were driven to do this. They want to cause as little damage as possible, and they're still caring about their enemy. Around the same point in time, an ambulance pulls up to start rendering aid. The veterans are thinking, okay, they've got some, you know, injured people inside the building or whatever. We're going to let them get their injured out because, you know, we're trying to do the right thing. We're good guys. And sure enough, Paul Cantrell and Mansfield take the...
I mean, are you new here? The world is a ridiculous place. Watch The Fat Electrician. You want to hear some crazy shit from history.
Opportunity to slip inside the ambulance and make a clean getaway.
And clearly, this was very well documented because there's literally photos and videos of the day.
Leaving all their henchmen behind. Nobody really realizes that at the time. The ambulance takes off, the dynamite shows up, they then proceed to blow up Mansfield's car. The crowd erupts in cheer. They love this shit. At which point the veterans yell into the jail like, come out or we're gonna start blowing this shit up. They respond with a couple of pop shots. Cool. Band 3 sticks of dynamite together, throw it onto the porch, blow the entire porch off the jail. After the smoke from that settles, the GIs yell in, the next one's coming through the window, at which point the deputies, you know, the boss has already fled. What the fuck am I doing here? They're like, okay, stop shooting. We'll come out. The GIs are like, cool, come out with your hands up. We're all good. The deputies all file out with their hands in the air, begging not to get shot, at which point some of the GIs are like, you know, maybe we should shoot them. And the crowd is like, fucking shoot them. The rest of the GIs are like, no, we're not fucking murdering people. Knock it off. So nobody ends up getting shot. Cantrell and Mansfield are missing. They refused to tell him where the hell they went. They found out later that he escaped in the ambulance.
God damn it.
Now at this point, you gotta remember, there's 2,000 civilians that have been getting the shit kicked out of them for the past 10 years by these deputies and being extorted, and the crowd kind of, you know, moves in and has their chance to return the favor, which they absolutely do. And Wendy Wise, the man that shot the elderly black gentleman earlier, got a special amount of attention.
Oh, thank God.
The payback's up.
Hold on, wait. What did that say?
Got a special amount of attention.
Wendy Wise did not arouse the friendlier instincts of the crowd when the other deputies were released. He alone was held to answer charges. Oof.
The payback's a motherfucker, ain't it?
He did end up surviving, and he
Yeah, history repeats itself, Christine. It's weird how tyrannical bullshit that runs rampant out of control leads to, violent revolution. It's weird how that happens. If only Canada was good at that. You guys aren't allowed to have guns. So there's that.
Later said that there was no hard feelings.
Why would I have hard feelings? I'm still picking pieces of your ass out of my boot.
That's a good line.
So while that's going on, the
That's a
veterans
good
go
line.
inside the jail. They find a metric fuck ton of ballots that were pre-marked for Paul Cantrell. They find the real ballots. They take the real ballots out. They pick trustworthy people. They have them go count them. Then they continue searching the rest of the jail. They go back to where the actual jail cells are. There's 3 veterans in there. They break them out. And then there's 2 other people. One guy that got picked up the night before for being too drunk, and another guy that was in there for burglary that have apparently just been having the worst time of their fucking lives. They had
those
no
poor
idea
guys
what
have
was
no
going
idea.
on the entire time.
Stop blowing holes in my shit!
So now the ballots are getting counted. They take all the deputies back into the jail, throw their asses in jail cells, and wait for the ballots to get counted. The results come in, the real results, and every GI won in a fucking landslide. From here, the crowd
Yeah, no
goes fucking
shit.
nuts. It's a huge celebration. Everybody's happy. They've finally overthrown the corrupt government. The day is saved. After that, settles down a little bit, a lawyer chimes in and is like, okay, we can't fucking talk about any of this shit, by the way.
I don't have a clue
Right,
what you're
yeah.
talking about, Phil. Not a fucking clue.
At this point, everybody's like, well, yeah, good idea. So, not knowing what to do with, the 55 deputies that they had inside of a jail cell, they just kind of like...
Yeah, by the way, what do you do with these guys? Like, the entire state government was being run by these thugs. You've overthrown them on a local level. How the hell do you get anything done with them after the fact? Like, realistically, like, it's like, okay, we took them out, we got them all out of office legally, but now we have to be recognized by all the criminals above us. It's like, how do you? I mean, obviously something changed, but damn, like that's a crazy realization.
Took the ones that were messed
Okay.
up to the hospital, let the rest of them go, get the fuck out of our town. All of them, except for Wendy Wise, they kept him in jail, told him they were going to send him to prison as long as they possibly could. And while this is
Good
going
idea.
on, Mansfield and Cantrell end up convincing the mortician in town to smuggle them out of town inside of a hearse, which is symbolic to say the least.
A little bit. We saw nothing.
Now at this point, it dawns on everybody, the work's not done yet. The National Guard still might be coming. We got to get ready. The whole town is on their side.
Okay.
Like, they don't want the National Guard coming in here overturning what they deem as a just election.
crazy.
They've all got guns, and they're like game to go to war with the National Guard to
Yeah, because they had called the National Guard to come in and deal with it. Yeah, that makes sense. Over 1,000 residents mobilized to defend the county against a counterattack. Yeah.
defend their right to vote. It's fucking crazy. Felix Harold takes off, gets in
Okay.
his Piper Cub plane. He's circling the town, conducting aerial reconnaissance, looking at all the roads into Athens and the county as a whole. And he's like, there's no major formations coming near us at all. There's not a single car on the road right now. I think we're good. The governor had already called off the National Guard, but they don't know that yet. They literally have patrols going around town of armed veterans and armed civilians getting ready to throw down for anybody that wants to overturn this election. And this goes on for days, almost a week. The veterans ended up getting word that a neighboring sheriff's department from a neighboring county was going to send troops in here to do something about it. They're like, fuck it, let's grab a bunch of guys,
Let's go
load
deal
them in
with
some
that too,
trucks,
yeah.
and we'll just drive to their sheriff's department and ask them what's up. Bunch of armed veterans show up, 50 of them outside of the sheriff's department. It was like, hey, we heard you wanted to do something about our election. And the sheriff is like, nope.
No, that's not what I said.
And the veterans are like, okay, great, cool, wonderful. They head back to Athens peacefully. Everything's going fine. Sure enough, U.S. Marshals show up, the feds, they start asking questions. Nobody in town says a fucking thing about anything.
Oh, nah, I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing. Matter of fact, I'm blind in my left eye. I can't even see you, sir.
The U.S. Marshals don't know what to do. Obviously, shit went down here, but nobody's talking.
there are too
They've
many
got
bullet
to
holes.
figure out what the hell happened
Overturned
and what they're going to
cars.
do about it. And then they get
Blown
an
up
idea. They're
shit.
like, hey, they got the guns from somewhere. They had to have gotten all those guns from the National Guard Armory. We're going to go check there. So they show up to the National Guard Armory. Every single gun is there and accounted
They
for. And the
turned them
National
all.
Guard Armory Sergeant is like,
I don't know shit about fuck.
at which point the U.S. Marshals are like, okay.
Slow clap for my spirit animal. Oh, yes, Ruth. Be like Ruth. Be like Ruth.
Okay, these guys they're fucking thorough. I'll give them that. What about the ammunition? They expend ammunition. We know that you keep a running tally of that shit.
There's no way.
Is all the ammunition here? To which the National Guard guy is like, no, actually we don't. That, you see, that's expendable. We don't really keep track of that shit here. It's, you know, it's very complicated and nuanced. But no, I don't have that information either. Sorry.
Hope we didn't need those notes.
Anyways, have a nice day. The U.S. Marshals are like, I have no fucking idea what to do. I have nothing to go off. So they just kind of fuck off. And then Judge Sue Hicks orders an investigation into every possible crime committed by everybody. The investigation yields absolutely nothing. He even gets the National Guard to conduct an internal investigation as to whether or not the weapons at the armory were used. And the National Guard is like, nope, definitely not used at all. Ultimately, the governor ends up stepping in and is like, okay, just we're done with this. We're moving on. The GIs that won their elected post. Nobody ended up dying. There were no fatalities, just a ton of injuries over this entire thing. We're moving on. The only person that got convicted of anything was Deputy Wendy Wise, who shot Tom Gillespie, and he got sent to prison for 3 years. And now with the new veteran Sheriff Knox, he announced that he was going to be conducting an investigation into all of the other political officials inside the town of Athens and McMinn County to make sure that they won their elections fairly, at which point all 28 remaining public officials in the county and the town of Athens promptly resigned.
You're all fired.
From here, the new sheriff's department immediately restored order to the county, with their first 3 arrests actually being veterans that had broken the law, in a true demonstration of, we are not going to be another machine, we're not going to be another corrupt government, we're going to do the right thing. If you do the crime, you're going to do the time. And that's that. In addition to that, they immediately went out and put an end to all the illegal gambling and alcohol rings that had been funding the previous political machine. And that's it. Order had officially been restored to Athens. Everybody lives happily ever after. Hooray. But then word got out to the rest of Tennessee what had happened. And you remember, machine politics are going on all over the state. And as word got out with that, you started to see more veterans organizations mobilizing and doing.
Yeah, like they cleaned everything up and put everything back, and then everyone had a cover story. But there were literally reporters there taking pictures. It's like, you can't silence the, well, could have. Did not silence those people. So it's like, we know some shit happened. Where is it? We don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Doing similar things. There were some altercations, nothing to the scale of the Battle of Athens, because, well, nobody wanted to find out because they knew what would happen. They all watched the Battle of Athens occur. And over the course of the coming years, by the early 1950s, the Crump political machine had effectively been completely dismantled, because now they knew if you fuck around too hard, somebody might make you find out.
Was that a new shirt? I know what it said. Yep. Okay. So he redesigned the shirt. It's never a war crime the first time.
Somebody might make you find out.
Go for broke.
This entire story is just the embodiment of, if we all break the rules together, they can't get all of us in trouble, and I absolutely love it.
Yep. That is 100% true. Fucking A. Yeah, by the way, also...
Good boy, you've come to free me.
Hold on. Yeah, by the way, still don't know what movie that was. I still think it was Heavyweights. So if you haven't watched the one-man army one, that was ridiculous. The story of Sergeant Alvin York, absolutely ridiculous. So, like, Christine, you want to talk about ridiculous? This was just one thing in a small town in Tennessee. Go listen to how that soldier somehow took out 150 Germans with a handful of guys and survived completely unscathed machine gun fire from an elevated position while standing completely in the open. It makes no sense, but it's worth watching. Either way, so no, that was fantastic. I'd never heard of that. I think I've heard of that movie. What was it called? An American Story? Is that what it was? Okay, so I've heard of the movie. I have a feeling like at one point in one of my history classes, I think one of my teachers probably pulled it up, which is why I was like, those are obviously movie scenes, but it looks familiar. But it is oddly similar to some of the Dukes of Hazzard stuff. Like, that's why he was drawing those parallels to Dukes of Hazzard, because that's basically how Boss Hogg ran the town. You know, it was exactly that type of situation. So, yeah. But yeah, it is good night time for everybody. That went a little bit long. I'm sorry, but look, I don't have to be up in the morning. I ain't got to be nowhere till 12 o'clock, in which case I will be filming some stuff on location out at Frankenbolt's Brewery way out there. There's an event going on for a new TV show called Booze, Brews, and Barbecue. And they're filming episode 6 out here in Montgomery, Texas. So that'd be really cool. And in theory, I might actually be able to get a little very small amount of time to talk to the actual host of the show. So for the podcast. So we'll see. We will see what happens. But guys, what is that? Thinking of Dukes of Hazzard, you guys know who played Cletus passed away. I did not know that. I know the guy who played John Redcorn was murdered ridiculously the other day. That's insane. Also, so I will see you guys next week at some point. What we should be coming up on the first Wednesday of the month, which means trivia night for everybody over on the Patreon. Sign up for the Patreon, even on the freebie level, or do the 7-day free trial and go see how much crap I put up on the Patreon, including the Patreon podcast. So even if you miss them, you know, you can watch them later if it's on your level, whatever that thing is, your membership level. So yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, I almost forgot the Funicorn. How were you going to let me forget the Funicorn? It was right there the whole time. You didn't remind me, Trisha, specifically. Either way, well, I'll see you guys later. Remember, as always, it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be loud. And also, don't forget the thing. Some of you will forget. Some of you will have forgotten already. Boop.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, but more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it